Sometimes the hardest battles we fight are not against others, but against ourselves. The mind, wild and restless, can either be a faithful ally or a constant enemy. Discipline it, and it becomes your greatest weapon. Neglect it, and even the simplest challenges can overwhelm you. In a small, quiet village nestled between green hills and flowing rivers, there lived a boy named Aman. Aman was known throughout the village for his energy and curiosity. He was bright, quick to learn, and eager to explore. But he was also restless. His mind was like a wild river, rushing from one thought to another, never staying in one place for long. One moment, he would be helping his father in the fields. The next, he would be chasing butterflies, climbing trees, or daydreaming about faraway cities. Aman's father, Raghav, was a hard-working farmer, respected in the village for his honesty and wisdom. He had long observed his son's brilliance, but also his lack of focus. "Aman," he would say gently, "you have a sharp mind, but a sharp mind without control is like a knife swinging wildly. It can hurt even the one who holds it." Aman never paid much attention. He laughed, ran off to play with his friends, and promised himself he would think about his father's words later. He thought discipline was only for soldiers, priests, or scholars, not for a free-spirited boy like him. Years passed. Aman grew taller and stronger, but his mind remained as restless as ever. He was talented in everything he tried, farming, drawing, solving problems, but he never finished anything. His fields were half plowed, his sketches half drawn, and his chores half completed. The villagers liked him for his energy and cheer, but they also shook their heads, knowing his potential would remain unfulfilled unless he learned control. One summer, the village faced a severe drought. The river that ran through the valley shrank to a trickle, and the fields turned brown and dry. Crops began to fail, and families struggled to find enough food. Aman's father, Raghav, worked tirelessly to save their land, but the task was enormous. One day, Aman called Aman to the edge of their main field, now cracked and dry under the scorching sun. "Aman," he said firmly, "this is no time for wandering and daydreaming. If you want to help, you must focus. Your mind must work like your hands, strong, steady, and disciplined. Only then can we survive this season." Aman frowned. He wanted to help, of course, but the idea of discipline seemed foreign, almost impossible. How could he tame the wild thoughts that constantly pulled him in different directions? Yet, seeing the worry in his father's eyes, he felt a spark of determination. That night, Aman sat by the dim light of an oil lamp, thinking. He remembered his father's words, "A sharp mind without control is dangerous." He realized that his own restless mind had kept him from achieving anything meaningful, that his energy had gone to waste. For the first time, he felt that discipline was not punishment, but a tool, a bridge between who he was and who he could become. The next morning, Aman woke before sunrise. He decided to start small. He set a simple rule for himself. For every task, he would focus completely until it was done. No distractions, no wandering thoughts. First, he began with a small patch of the field. Normally, he would start plowing, then leave halfway to chase a bird or climb a tree. This time, he worked steadily, feeling every movement of the plow, noticing the soil, the sun, the sweat on his brow. Hours passed, and for the first time, he finished an entire row without stopping. He felt a strange sense of pride, a satisfaction that was deeper than any fun or play he had ever known. Aman continued this practice each day. He disciplined not only his work, but also his thoughts. Whenever a stray thought tried to pull him away, memories of games, daydreams of distant lands, or worries about what others thought, he acknowledged it, then returned to the task at hand. Slowly, his mind, once a wild river, began to flow steadily, powerfully, like a canal directed with purpose. The villagers noticed the change. Aman no longer ran in every direction, chasing every fleeting idea. Instead, he was calm, focused, and consistent. He finished the chores his father assigned, helped neighbors repair their fields, and even started experimenting with new irrigation techniques to save water. His mind, once scattered, had become a sharp tool capable of solving problems, making plans, and leading others. One evening, a violent storm hit the village. The river swelled, threatening to flood the fields. Panic spread among the villagers. Many ran in different directions, unsure of what to do. Amon's father called out, but the chaos made it hard to coordinate anything. Amon felt a surge of fear, but he remembered the lessons he had learned. He took a deep breath, focused, and began directing the villagers calmly. Move the sheep to the higher hill. Tie the gates tightly. Help the children and elderly to safe shelters. His words were steady, his instructions clear. The villagers followed, and because Amon's mind was disciplined, his focus allowed him to act decisively. By the end of the night, everyone was safe, and the flood caused minimal damage. After the storm, Raghav hugged Amon tightly. "See, my son, discipline of the mind is strength. You could not have led everyone so calmly and wisely if your mind had still been wild. Today, you saved lives, not just crops or animals." That night, Amon reflected on the events. He realized that discipline was not punishment, but a choice. Choosing to focus on what mattered, choosing to direct energy with intention, and choosing to master oneself rather than be mastered by thoughts and emotions. The boy who had once been scattered and restless had grown into a young man capable of turning chaos into order, fear into action, and confusion into clarity. As the seasons changed, Amon continued to apply discipline in every part of his life. He rose with the sun, worked in the field with focus, studied irrigation methods, read books borrowed from the distant town, and even trained his body to endure long hours under the hot sun. Over time, his fields prospered, the crops thrived, and the village began to rely on him for guidance in solving complex problems. But perhaps the most remarkable change was within Amon himself. He found joy not in distractions, not in scattered adventures, but in purpose. He discovered that disciplined mind created freedom, not limitation. Where once he was restless, now he felt calm. Where once he was anxious and frustrated, now he felt empowered and confident. Discipline did not cage him, it set him free. One day, a group of young boys from the village approached him. "Amon," they asked, "how did you change? How did you become so strong and calm?" Amon smiled and led them to the river, where the water flowed steadily through a narrow canal. "Look at this river. It was once wild and scattered, rushing everywhere, but when it is directed, it becomes powerful. Your mind is like this river. If you let it flow everywhere without control, it will drown you in confusion. But if you discipline it, guide it, focus it, it will carry you wherever you want to go." He continued, "Discipline is not punishment. It is your path to freedom. Train your mind, control your thoughts, focus your energy, and you can overcome any challenge, achieve any goal, and live with peace and purpose." Years after, Amon became a leader in the village. People admired him not only for his wisdom and skill, but for his calm, steady presence. They sought his advice in difficult times, knowing that he could see clearly where others were lost in panic or doubt. But Amon never forgot that the real victory had been within, the day he decided to discipline his mind, focus his thoughts, and direct his energy with purpose. And every morning, as the sun rose over the green hills, Amon would walk through his thriving fields, breathe in the fresh air, and whisper to himself, "A disciplined mind is freedom, a focused mind is power, and today I am the master of my thoughts, my life, and my destiny." Through discipline, Amon discovered that true strength doesn't come from muscles, possessions, or luck. It comes from within, from the mind trained to see clearly, act wisely, and endure patiently. And in mastering himself, he had mastered every situation life could throw at him.